Good afternoon, world. It is moments past noon here in Waxahachie, Texas, deep in the heart of the Lone Star State. And today is the 3rd of March, and this is episode 2026, episode number 124 of the greatness of Grit and Good News. As always, we're broadcasting from our studio in downtown Waxahachie in the shadows of the historic Ellis County Courthouse. And I'm your co-host, Jeff Lynch. Our man Scott, resplendent in his red and white, which is 2/3 of red, white,
You
and
mean
blue.
Sammy?
You know what I mean? Sammy. I got
That's
my
okay.
issues. I got my
That's all
issues.
right.
Ugh.
That's okay.
He's manning the board. To my right is my friend, your friend, our other host, Scott
Thank you,
Brooks.
bud. I wouldn't. There are people out there that would rather hang me up by my ankle than call me a friend, but
But
I love you nonetheless.
I'm on the short good list.
Yeah, I was coming in this morning, and Mark Davis, who's a longtime Dallas Fort Worth radio
Right.
host, he was on WBAP for the longest. Now he's on 660 The Answer. He got a call from a guy, and the guy lit into him, and he wouldn't stop lighting into Davis, and Davis is screaming, and they're screaming, and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I'm so glad we don't have that element. On the other hand, we talked about making this into a radio program. That said, thank you for being here. It is Tuesday, beautiful Tuesday, about 75 degrees outside right now. I'm actually easing into my
Yeah,
short
yeah, me
sleeve, no
too.
more hoodies,
What a thrill.
and excited about that. So we'll enjoy it while we can. Thank you for being here. We'll do the show again on Thursday at noon, every Tuesday and Thursday. You can check out Grit and Good News on Substack.com, where we provide a boatload of content, both video, links, columns that we've written, poems that Jeff has written, all sorts of different things. You can get audio of all of our work there as well. So for $5 a month, you get a lot of information, which we like to cover on this show as well, but we just don't have enough time to do it all. So check out Substack.com and Grit and Good News, and for $5 a month, you can be a treasured subscriber of ours. Today is the 124th episode. We'd like to take the last two numbers of that and say, okay, Sammy, go out into the where, Sammy? The ether. Sammy knows what that means. And find the best, most well-known, famous athletes in all four major sports that wore the number 24. Before we want to get that, do you want to do your
Yeah,
calendar?
let's do our calendar
All right.
real quickly. You're used to seeing this up right here, and you're used to me talking about it once a month, but we weren't here in January 1st, we weren't here in February 1st, so we are here on March 1st. No electricity required to run this device that tells you the calendar for 100 years. And so now we've put the March under the 26th, and as we see, Tuesday is the 3rd,
Yep.
just like it's supposed to be. And we talk about what months get shared and what years get shared. Sam, what do you think? There's 2 months that share the calendar with February. One of them is
March.
March, and the other one is November. It shares it, but it's got the extra days at the end. Good job. And we always talk about the years. In last year in 25, it shared it with 1947, 1969, 2013, and 2025. I said those were tumultuous years. I'm going to tell you what it shares it with, and tell me if you find any commonality. I'm searching for it. It shared it with 2015, 2009, 1998, and 1987. I'll only go back four times.
Yeah.
What do you see in common on any of those
What
years?
year, Sam, again?
2015, 2009, 1998, and 1987. Nothing jumps out at me,
No, nothing jumps out at me.
which is fine with me.
Yeah.
All right.
Cool. There you
Very
go.
good.
All right, Sammy, number 24. What about football?
All right,
All right, wait
starting
a
with the
minute.
NFL.
I get to pick one always. Marshawn Lynch.
Yeah, that's at the
No
bottom.
relationship, by the way,
Yeah.
All
I would kind of
to
tell.
me.
right, I'll start with Champ Bailey. I'll know
Oh yeah,
Champ.
Champ
Yeah.
Bailey. Yeah.
We got Darrell Revis for the Jets. We got Charles Woodson
Yeah.
for the Raiders. We got Willie Brown for the Broncos. Lenny Moore for the Colts. Marshawn what do they call him? Beast mode,
Yeah.
and then Ty Law for the
All
Patriots.
right.
Yeah,
Cool.
we'll buy it.
What sports next?
All right, NBA, and don't give me the obvious one.
Mark Aguirre.
Okay.
Was
All
that the
right.
obvious one?
No, I'll start with
Well,
Kobe.
Kobe's the obvious one,
Yeah, I'll
but
start
Kobe's number was what before that?
8.
Yeah.
So we got Kobe, Moses Malone
Mo.
for the Rockets. He wore it for the Rockets. Spencer Haywood for the Bullets. Rick Barry, and then Mark Aguirre.
All right.
Didn't we have this conversation once that on that logo of NBA with the guy shooting,
He's not shooting,
He's dribbling.
dribbling.
dribbling? That's Rick Barry.
No.
Scott
Jerry
Havlicek.
West,
Jerry West.
late Jerry West.
Late great.
He passed away?
Mhm.
Oh, okay. MLB.
The only one I can think of right now is Ken Griffey Jr.,
Yep. I'll start
the
with
kid.
Willie Mays
Oh, please.
for the
The
Giants.
say hey kid.
Ricky Henderson for the A's. Ken Griffey Jr. Miguel Cabrera.
Miguel.
Miguel.
Yeah.
Miguel for the Tigers. And then Tony Perez
Yeah.
for the
For the Reds.
Reds. All right, going to NHL.
Mm-mm.
Bernie Fredoco for the
Perdomo. Yeah,
Blues.
that's good.
Ryan Callahan for the Rangers. Rob Probert
Hey, Terry.
for the Red Wings. Terry O'Reilly for the Bruins. The Stars. Roop Hintz.
Group A.
Rupe. I think he's injured right now.
Correct.
Capo Keiko for the Rangers. And I didn't know. So who's our Sangoon? He's out for the year.
Sagan.
Sagan, is that how you say it? Yeah.
Sang.
Tyler Sagan.
Oh, it's Sagan.
Sagan.
He's out for the year.
Yeah, he had an
Oh,
injury in December. They operated. They thought he might be back for the playoffs, but
wow.
now they bagged him for the year, which is going to help us pick up about 6 million in salary cap. I think it's a partial year. I think
Yeah.
he was at 8.5 or whatever it was.
Well, the Stars are playing great. They won 9 in a row.
That's for franchise record.
They're 9 in a row, and they're second best team in all of hockey.
That's pretty good.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they looked
so
great last night.
impressive. They
He-
win last night?
Yeah,
Yeah.
5
Well,
to 1.
obviously they won 9 in a row.
Tim Horton.
Yeah, Buffalo.
Um,
Do you know as frequent or as many 7-Elevens or Quick Trips or whatever we want to call around here?
Tim
Tim
Horton
Horton is
donut and
up in
coffee
Buffalo.
shops. They're all over
Yeah,
Canada, all over. Jerome Aginla,
yeah,
who only wore it for the LA Kings, but Chris Chelios,
yeah.
Chelly.
I'm surprised he wasn't on there for
Yeah,
the
I was surprised.
Blackhawks.
We have different lists that we look at, and he started with Montreal. He went to Chicago and he had to switch to 7. Then he went to Detroit and got back 24. He's got 3 cups and 3 Norris
Yeah.
trophies. Um, and that's what we got, kids.
All right. Today is election day, as you all know. We'll be talking just a few minutes about local elections and kind of what to expect. But all across the country, both state and national races. Well, I think, let's see, just I think senators and governors as high as it goes. So we certainly have our share of things to talk about here in the state of Texas and in our local community of Ellis County, Texas, which, by the way, I believe is the 8th fastest growing county in the state of Texas, which is one of the, if not the fastest growing state in America. So there's a lot going on in our community, which is 30 minutes south of Dallas. But we'll talk about some election stuff here in just a minute. We'll talk about real quickly the shooting in Austin that happened over the weekend. I saw one of the people that was killed, a 22-year-old college student from Tech, who was just out, around midnight in Austin, which is a very social happening place, and lost his life because of some lunatic with an Allah hoodie on. And saw a video this morning of the guy, the killer, who was taken out by police, killed, leaving his apartment to head out to do his the devil's work, and he just is nonchalant, carrying a gun wrapped in a blanket, a long gun.
Lee
Just
Harvey
just
Oswald style.
amazing. Yeah, just amazing to me to know that someone could just act that way, and knowing they're headed out to take life, and to presumably know or believe that they're going to be taken out as well. It's just
Have
sad.
you ever been on 6th Street in
Yeah.
Austin? Okay.
Yep.
I was talking to my eldest daughter who lives in Austin about that situation, and she said, and I never really thought about it this way, but 6th Street runs under 35. Okay.
Mhm.
And everything west of 35 on the downtown side has become very rough, very tough. And that's where this
That's
is.
happened. Mhm.
Everything on the east side of that is still acceptable.
Yeah. I don't think this guy it would be like him he picked the place. I don't know when we talk about rough
It's a
parts of
hopping place.
yeah, when we talk about rough parts of town, we're talking about what I think you're probably saying perpetual problems, crime,
Hmm.
trash, dirt, whatever. This guy happened to pick that place for whatever reason. Most seems like to me, most obvious would be that it's a hopping place, as you just
Right.
said.
Right.
So when these mass killers go out, it's interesting that they don't go to the places where we often associate crime and trash and dirt and problems. They go to whatever's in their mind, whether it be a school, whether it be a, a Buffalo had one I'm sorry, a year and a half ago, 10 people killed in a supermarket. So they go to wherever they are inclined to go, and it really doesn't have anything to do with something that it would make sense that they went there. You know what I mean? It's
Right.
just so random.
Well, did you hear any of the chatter from the female mayor of Austin talking about it afterwards?
No.
And she was praising the police on their response time. Did you get this? 57 seconds.
Yeah.
Guess what? And then she was talking about the EMS also. Well, the EMS in that area are embedded with the
Yeah.
police,
Oh,
and
okay.
and and because it is such a, it's just like if it happened in Deep Ellum, we'd have police there in no
Yeah.
time at all. Which,
As opposed to it happening in, say, Highland Park. I mean,
right,
Highland Park may be policed there quicker because people have
right,
private security, but you're right. I mean, at a place that's the advantage, I guess, if there's any of it being associated with rough
right,
parts of town, is that police are there.
exactly,
But these guys choose it. You think of a guy like this. Let's just say he didn't want to die. So if he really thought about it, he wouldn't go to a place that was covered by police and EMT that would respond quickly because his chances of dying himself are greater. He would go to a place where he could do his damage and maybe get away. But this guy went to a place that was adjacent to 57 seconds. Now, 57 seconds, if you're on our watch, that's pretty quick. But if you're being shot at and under cover or under threat of dying or being injured, I don't know what 57 seconds would
yeah,
feel
they
like.
probably measure that from the last shot, but
Yeah,
not
it's
not from the start. Because the MO
probably the
on this guy
call.
was he circled it a couple
Yeah,
times,
yeah,
came by, out the window with his handgun, pop, 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 however many, parks his car, gets out with the shotgun.
yeah. And then you see him shooting directly into a car. The videos I've seen, he's shooting directly into a car. I assume somebody was sitting in the car, but I don't know. And then he keeps walking. Anyway, another tragic event. And of course, you got the
We tell these
knuckle.
stories as if nobody's ever heard them, but
Yeah,
not
well,
everybody knows these
no, you
details,
never
right?
know. We've tried to give you the latest that we just
Yeah,
heard, which is the video release of him leaving his apartment. But the call for gun control, Talarico's already out there flapping his gums about uh, gun control. That is not the answer, nor will it ever be the answer because there's the strictest the strictest gun restrictions in America are in places where crime is the highest.
right.
So anyway, there you have it. The WBC World Baseball Classic starts Thursday, which it's the equivalent of the Four Nations hockey. It's not as great, or well, maybe for baseball people, it's as big as the Olympics, but it starts this Thursday. It's a big, fun, exciting time, about 2 weeks long. I've got a few Tarnations. I'll let you start. Do you have any?
Yeah, I got a couple of them here. I wrote this down, and then I was driving in. I thought, well, I don't know if I'm right about this. I was thinking, I'm so ready for a break from political ads on TV.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got to thinking to myself, no, it's just going to be less people because the people that were eliminated from the primary, but now the ones that are in the main race, we're going to get twice as much as
Yeah,
we're
well,
getting from them.
the primaries, well, there isn't a runoff. The runoffs, if there are some, which I think there will be a continuation, less people, so presumably won't be as much.
Right.
But two people can double their spending, and it appears though it's 10 people,
Right.
which is what you're talking about. But where there are no races, where there's no runoff, where there's a distinct winner and it has to wait until the general election,
Right.
this will at least get a break of about 5 months, 4 months before they start going again for the general election in
In
November.
the big one,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
So my second one, my wife was out at Bunko. She didn't get a chance to see this. This ad ran twice on the Stars game. It's on Victory Plus, not
yeah.
on network. I'm watching this. It was just a tremendous ad from a woman coming home with all kind of groceries, and she puts them on the counter, and then her four boys are just digging in the bag, and one guy is taking the rotisserie chicken and he's working on a quarter of a leg, and another guy's slamming down milk out of the jug, and the guy's got cereal
Yeah.
all over him. Guess who it was for? BJ's Warehouse in Waxahachie. I'm
Oh,
thinking now, what kind of ad buyer is doing that? Because um, yeah, if you're in Frisco, are you coming
yeah.
down to BJ's? But on the other hand, BJ's evidently is
It's
just
in those places, I would assume.
no. It's the first one in Texas.
Oh, is it?
It's the first one
I
in
didn't know
Texas.
that.
Now,
Wow.
when I signed up and got a BJ's membership here a couple weeks ago, effective in early May when it starts, I was talking to two or three different people that lived in areas along the East Coast that
Hmm.
have it. They said, "We're so glad it's finally coming to Texas. It's just our favorite place to go." But so, but as you know from your time in the ad business,
Hmm.
when you make an ad buy and you're on Victory Plus for the Stars, you're getting a huge ring around the
Yeah,
whole Metroplex. And so you're getting people that may not be coming to Waxahachie, but on the other hand, if you're a big BJ's person from way back, you're
yeah.
thrilled you'll come.
Yeah,
I
that's
don't
a
know.
the challenge with, when you're dealing with media as it used to be, where there wasn't the micro targeting, particularly in broadcast and radio,
Yeah.
wasted most of the money that you were spending
Right.
because you were reaching far. When you hear a radio station now on WBAP or any of them that you listen to, and they're at a car dealer in Denton is
Yeah.
advertising, and we're
Yeah.
listening to it like
Exactly.
I'm not going to. I got to drive
Right.
past
That's my
50
point.
of them to get to you.
You're right.
Pretty interesting stuff. So, any more tarnation?
Nothing fresh.
All right,
Some of
mine,
yours.
yeah. So Mamdani, I think the dude, we're starting to already see, and Terry says not going to take our guns. That's right, brother. What we're already starting to see in New York City is elements of breaking it all down, which is going to lead to New York becoming a disaster. It is, and this guy is just moving forward. The people, he can say the people voted me in, and I'm going to do what I promised to do. What he promised to do isn't really what he's starting to do. He's raising taxes, property taxes. He's making things difficult for medium, and large businesses that are going to start flocking out of there, particularly those that are bigger. Uh, he's now on record for saying that what we did in Iran, which we're going to talk about shortly, was wrong, and he's defending the leadership of Iran at a time when the people in his own city, which is multicultural, obviously, are being impacted by what it has been impacted by what's going on in Iran. This guy is just, it blows my mind. The headline here says that Iranian American journalist calls out Mamdani over response to U.S. Israel strikes. Mamdani spoke out against the strikes on Saturday in a statement on social media. Today's military strikes on Iran, carried out by the United States and Israel, mark a catastrophic escalation in an illegal war of aggression. Bombing cities, killing civilians, opening a new theater of war. Americans do not want this. They do not want another war in pursuit of regime change. They want relief from the affordability crisis. They want peace. How wrong can somebody be all at the same time? Just taking apart the affordability crisis. He's the one that's now raising their budget to the New York City budget is more than the state of Florida, $127 billion. But this guy, he says he speaks for Americans. I don't know. I don't know.
He
Uh,
thinks because he got elected by New Yorkers, he speaks for
Yeah,
Americans.
well, he says Americans do not want this. What Americans do want, I think the ones have some sense of sanity, is that we, as Trump has said, we cut off the head of the snake that has for 60 years, which we're going to take a quick look at here in a second, has been the main force of evil in the world for 60 years, including at us. And Trump's not the first president that's been at risk and threat to be murdered. They've been a threat for a long, long time, and yet Mamdani is protecting them, defending them at a time, particularly Khomeini, a guy that just ordered within the past 2 weeks 30,000 plus of his own people being murdered by the military over there. I mean, how can
And they
anybody?
never fessed up to those numbers.
No, they don't. But I think the world, not just the United States saying that, it's the world saying that. But Mamdani is saying he's defending and protecting these people. It is as sick gets, if you ask me. That's definitely a tarnation for me. How about the runner? Where was this, Sam? This was in Atlanta. The female runner running a half a marathon. Uh, she got Honda on her vest in the front. This was in Atlanta, the U.S. Half Marathon Championships. McLean was leading the race with about 2 miles remaining, but her race was thrown off course as she was led off the path by a media vehicle. McLean reportedly followed the media vehicle, a police motorcycle, and a motorcycle with a camera, only to find out that they were thrown off course. By the time they got back onto the right course, McLean's lead was gone. She finished in ninth place, while Hurley and the other person finished 12th and 13th, respectively, the other people who followed her.
Moral of the story is don't follow the media.
The Flynn. Atlanta Track Club CEO Rich Kina took the blame for the error. He said in the women's race, a pace vehicle left the official course during mile 11. As race director, I take full responsibility for what occurred. Athletes should never have to make a split-second decision between following a pace vehicle or trusting the official course. I'd like to be the dude driving that car. Oh my gosh, that's funny. Anyway, and then we have Charles Barkley. Sam, if you'll cue that video up. So Charles Barkley has never been one to keep things to himself. It's why I admire him so much in terms of the his self-confidence. He and I don't agree on football because he's an Auburn grad. He and I don't agree politically, and he's constantly saying things about Trump. However, I thought you'd be interested in what he had to say about the hoopla associated with the men's USA hockey team and the women's USA hockey team both being invited to the White House, and the people in the world today who say you don't need to be going to the White House. It's, you can't honor Trump, blah blah blah.
And remind me of his nickname because I don't want to get
Well,
it
he's
right.
got many of them, but
Was it
the
a round
round mound
the
of rebound,
round mound of rebound?
yeah, chocolate thunder, things of that nature. So, Sammy, play the video. It's hilarious.
All right, so I'm going to finish up on this. I'm proud of the United States men. I'm proud of the United States women. You should have invited both of them to the White House, but it shouldn't have been disrespect, misogyny. Like, yo, man, why do y'all have to mess up everything? Everything is not Democrat, Republican, conservative, or liberal. That's why we got this divided, screwed up country. Stop it, man. Because, the public, they're idiots. They're fools. They can't think for themselves. So, I know y'all say stuff to trigger them. Y'all say stuff, but y'all know they're going to be fools.
You keep saying y'all. Does this not all go back to the president's phone call?
Yes.
I mean, that's.
But we
say,
don't have
hey,
to.
if I don't invite them, they're going to impeach me.
We don't have to fall for stupidity, Ernie.
I know.
But we do, because that's my point. These people out here are stupid. They need something to trigger them. We don't, just because they want us to be stupid, we don't have to be stupid. He should have invited both teams to the White House.
Simple as that.
Simple as that. Guys.
Whatever it's called, NBA Tonight or something like that, with Charles Barkley, Shaquille O'Neal, Kenny Smith, and Ernie Johnson. That's great chemistry. And then even when there are two of them are just talking, that's great chemistry as well. But Charles Barkley, like he does with everything, even things that make me want to go through the television screen after him, he says what's on his mind. That's what we try to do here, but he just says it and he's right.
Yeah.
Where in
I love
that
him.
would
I
he be
love that
wrong?
man.
I mean, people, we're dealing with it here, and we're going to talk about this in a few minutes in our he said segment. We're going to talk about why, in the case of Brian Harrison, why do people support this clown? It just blows my mind. And for someone like me who opines frequently, publicly, I then get attacked for attacking a guy who's done absolutely nothing. It makes no sense. But let's talk about Iran. So over the weekend, we all know that the United States and Israel teamed up to attack Iran. Epic, I forget the name of it. Do you guys either of you remember what it was referred to? Operation, let's see if I have it right here. Operation Epic Fury. So over the weekend, enough was enough, and Trump had been dropping hints for the last 30 days, probably for the last several years, but they've gotten more intense and more purposeful in the last 30 days. And so Trump and Netanyahu say, "All right, we're going to do this together, and we're going to take this what did George Bush call it? The axis of evil. We're going to take it out." And so the bombing started. 49 of the top leaders, the regime, administration, whatever they want, regime is a better word, but were killed, including Khomeini. Khomeini was in his 80s, had been the president, for lack of a better description. They don't call him, I think they call it what, the prime minister, the leader, Trump's equivalent in Iran, had been in that role since 1989, so a long time, and had killed millions of people. And Trump and Netanyahu said enough's enough. Enough was enough 30 years ago. We're going to do something about it. And when you think about the presidents who've drawn red lines, who've made bold statements. You remember what when Kamala Harris and Joe Biden were asked by CBS on 60 Minutes, well, what are you going to do? Namely, Kamala Harris, but Joe Biden said the same thing. What is your message to Iran? You remember what they said? Sammy, do you remember? What was the message? No, what was the message from Kamala Harris to Iran? She looked at the camera and said, "Don't."
Oh,
And Biden, what is your message to Iran? Don't. Now, if there's anybody in earshot of this that believes that's going to make Khomeini say, "Okay, we won't,"
oh,
obviously,
don't.
yeah.
Oh, don't.
So we get to Trump, and Trump just says, they tried to kill me in uh, my first term. They've been wanting to kill me ever since. They've tried uh, in Butler, Ohio, Butler, Pennsylvania, and in Florida. They keep trying, and they're trying to destroy America. They're killing Americans. We're going to put an end to it,
And you
and
got
they
an
did.
extensive timeline,
Yeah,
but I want to talk about a conversation I had last night, but I want to preface it by saying it appears to me that, like on every issue we have in our country right now, the feelings about do you support this or are you down on it or don't you care? It's always divided, not necessarily on the Republican Democrat line, but certainly on the conservative liberal line,
right.
which is essentially the same as the Republican Democrat line.
Yeah,
Had a talk on the phone last night with a sweet, sweet woman I know, and she's my daughter-in-law. And um, she, at age 14, came from Iran with her parents and her sister. And I have to be very careful about what I say because one of the interesting comments she gave me when I was trying to get a little bit more detail and how old's your dad and da 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 da. She said, people from Iran in the United States are extremely closed and private about their life because they don't want anybody in Iran to know where
yeah,
they are or what they're doing.
right.
Okay.
Yeah,
That this man came with his wife, he had a successful life there. He has a successful life here. His wife was successful. He has two wonderful daughters. Now he's got two granddaughters. Well, he's got three actually granddaughters, and a life to be proud of that you don't want anybody in Iran to know about. Are
yeah,
you kidding me?
yeah,
So I said, all that aside, tell me about how you feel. And does it reflect the same as what your parents feel? And she said, it does reflect the same. We are so happy that the Islamic regime has been terminated. We could not be happier. We are so fearful that there are no plans for the future. And there's no knowledge of who's going to lead things. They said, what about the crown prince? She said, yeah, there's a lot of talk about him. I said, wasn't he like 18 and he came to Texas Tech? She said he was 17 and is a pilot in Iran. He came to Texas Tech
Yeah.
and he's been laying low ever since. And I think he was on 60 Minutes is where I saw him the other night. And he was talking about, I would be okay in an interim role because I know what's going on, da 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 da. But I don't want it on a full
Are you talking
term.
about the Crown Prince of
The,
Saudi
yeah,
Arabia?
the
Yeah,
crown,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
No, the crown prince of Iran.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't know who that is.
And what we really want is a world similar to 1979 before this guy took over. We
Right.
want a world with a divide between religion and state. Does that sound familiar?
Mm-hmm.
And we need a friend out of Israel.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, and thank you for what really is, from the belly of the beast perspective. In
Yeah,
essence, although
yeah.
she's here, or out of Iran at least, it's I've often thought about when I hear that Khomeini, say the numbers, you could say the numbers 10,000 people were murdered by him. You could say the numbers 50,000, whatever the number is. Imagine we go back to 2020 and we go to Minneapolis and the riots and all that, or Illinois, where what's his name, the young man who had the rifle, Kenosha, or any other place where there have been protests. And just imagine from your living room and mine, we're watching the American government deploy our military, who then, instead of just monitoring or keeping order, is shooting people, shooting Americans. Imagine the horror. Imagine what we would do to an
Mm,
administration who did that. But any of us, it doesn't matter what side of the aisle, what color you are, where you're from, if you saw that in your own country, you like me, like us, would demand, do whatever necessary, legally and ethically, to get our leader out of office. That would happen in a split second. But yet we have America's leaders, some in this country, particularly those on the left, who are condemning ours and Israel's efforts to take out Khomeini and his thugs throughout, that okay, that very thing happening in Iran. Iranian people are no worse or better than we are. God tells us that they are his children just like we are. They live in an oppressed land, a violent land. And so we wouldn't accept it here, but yet we're listening to people defend. Hakeem Jeffries is another one, is defending the right for that to exist and continue, and attacking Trump for, if I hear another Democrat or liberal say endless war, I don't know what endless war they're talking about. They're talking about Maduro was taken out in a matter of a day. There's no endless war in Venezuela. There's been no endless war in Iran with Trump. Trump cut off their nuclear things back last June or July, and now he's cutting off the head of the snake. If that's the end of an endless war.
I think what he's talking about, and I don't know what's in your timeline, but I think it was Pete Hegseth was on, and he was saying endless war. Yeah, it's been an endless war ever since 1979, and he
Yeah.
starts listing all these things that Iran has done to us, and we've done zero, zilch,
Exactly right.
nothing.
So it's a great segue. Samuel will appreciate and learn something from this. But when I was in high school, when I started high school in 1977, Iran and America were allies. The Shah of Iran was in office. We were allies. We were strong allies. Jimmy Carter comes along, becomes the president of the United States. Um, and the Islamic Revolution overthrew the Shah. The Ayatollah Khomeini established the Islamic Republic, which is what your relative was talking about, that
Hmm.
took over and a regime built on resisting Western influence. So on November the 4th, many of you watching may remember this, some of you may not, but on November the 4th, 1979, I was a freshman in college. Iranian students seized the U.S. Embassy and held 52 American hostages for 444 days. Everything was severed. So Jimmy Carter was in office. They held 52 Americans for 444 days. I remember it like yesterday when they were released, over a year. So you take that's when it all started. All of what culminated with things is not actually culminated, but what happened over the weekend as a result of what started in 1979. Uh, and what happened over the weekend is just a precursor of what's going to happen in the days ahead. Trump's going to finish this job. So is Netanyahu. Just this morning, there was a story about how the remaining leaders in Iran were all meeting to decide who was going to be the interim leader, and Israel bombed the place that they were sitting in.
That's another thing that I think is great about how this thing worked out.
Yeah,
The blood is on Israel's hands, not ours.
yeah,
They set it up that way.
yeah.
We're going after all the military type of stuff and the nuclear type of stuff, and Israel's the one that takes out the leaders,
Yeah.
as well it should have
Well,
been,
yeah, I mean, look at
right?
what the leaders have done to Israel. So in 1980, during the Iran-Iraq War, which is from 1980, when Ronald Reagan came into office, the U.S. tilted toward Iraq. So we recognize Iran as being the axis of evil, the real evil in the world. We tilted toward Iraq, as said here. Iranian-backed groups like Hezbollah attacked American interests. The hostility shifted from embassies to indirect battlefields. The relationship became deeply adversarial. In the 90s, when Ronald Reagan gave way to George H.W. Bush and then Clinton soon thereafter, our sanctions on Iran expanded and Iran was labeled a state sponsor of terrorism. After 9/11, President George Bush included Iran in the axis of evil. With U.S. forces in Afghanistan and Iraq, Iran viewed itself as encircled. Trust collapsed entirely. Uh, the fifth act of this whole saga became what let's see, it's called the nuclear deal. But in 2015, Obama administration negotiated the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action. Iran limited uranium enrichment. Remember all that, where Obama was trying to negotiate? Hillary was involved. Supporters saw it as a reducing war risk. Critics believed it empowered Iran without ending nuclear ambitions. So we are trying to strike a deal with Iran, but we're giving them things that would just be a perpetuation of the evil that they were manifesting in the world. The fifth act of this is in 2018. President Trump withdrew from that nuclear deal that Obama had struck 3 years earlier. In January 2020, the U.S. killed Iranian, if you remember this, he's got a last name Soleimani, Qassem Soleimani. He was an Iranian general, big time leader. He was killed in 2020, the closest moment to open war in decades. Even that didn't compel or trigger or provoke a war. Tensions surged, but full-scale war was avoided. So you hear all this on the left, Hakeem Jeffries and others talk about endless war. There hasn't been a war
Right.
in Iraq. Where we are today, diplomatic relations remain severed. Iran has expanded nuclear enrichment beyond prior limits. So we bombed them in the summer. It said, do not do it anymore. Essentially, I know I'm paraphrasing here, but they continued to not with the place that had been obliterated, as Trump kept saying or kept saying, but in other ways through intelligence, Israel and the United States knew they were continuing to try to build nuclear weapons. Um, and so this goes back to 1979. It goes back to the Carter years. It escalated all the way through. I don't know how many presidents that is, a lot. Uh, and here we are. Reagan ended the negotiations, but Reagan didn't do anything to tap down on Iran. And I'm a Reagan
He
conservative.
was busy working on the Cold War and
Yeah, the Berlin Wall, all that
take down
stuff
that
with
wall and all
yes.
that, you know.
Yeah, so we've allowed the presidents prior to Trump have allowed this to perpetuate, and here we are.
Yeah.
So the guy that comes along that says, okay, we're going to end all this nonsense is the guy who then gets attacked for doing what America has prayed for a president to do for the last, what is that, 50 some odd years. It's crazy.
I'm gonna close with this final comment about my daughter-in-law and her husband. Can you imagine having a successful life and a very nice wife and 2 kids, and in 1997 saying, I think if I don't get out of here now, I'll never get a chance. And where did he come? He came to Texas. Thank you very
Yeah.
much.
I mean, look, if any of us were in a foreign country and we needed to get out, people say, well, I just took a map, closed my eyes, and landed on something. If I did that, I'd make sure that the only thing that I was able to point at was Texas
Amen.
and North Texas at that. One last thing. There's a guy I mentioned to you last week. He was talking about sharing with us the insight about why the left and the right disagree on such important moral things. And his theory is that the left has care and fairness right here, right in front of them. Everything is filtered through care and fairness. So a mom who who can't who can't abort a baby, that's not fair to the mom because the mom's body is in play. The illegal immigrant who's been here for whatever number of years and is living a life, to send them home, to kick them out, although they did something illegal, is unfair. So care and fairness is where the left stops in terms of their litmus test or their vetting or their filtering. And so because of that, most everything that 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 a deeper look at somebody or a situation would say that's unacceptable. The left, because they stop at a shallow level, allows a lot of things that we disagree with to happen. All right. The right tends to go deeper. So we have care and fairness, but then we look at morality, we look at authority, we look at liberty, we look at, you name it. I said morality. We look at those things and we say, so wait a minute. A mom, it might be caring that we are concerned about the mother's life and body, but what about the baby? What about the baby who is innocent and who has no fault in this whatsoever is being murdered? We go that far and we say, well, based on that, it's wrong. What about the illegal immigrant? Well, if you care about them, then and that's as far as you go, and you don't take a position on what they've done, you'll say, well, it's fair for them to be here. We say, wait a minute, what about they broke a law, they come here, some of them are murderers and some of them don't know how to drive, some of them whatever, they take jobs away from Americans, uh, they make us spend more money, so on and so forth. So we go deeper and we say, well, wait a minute, based on that, it's wrong. So the filtering level, the litmus tests are different. The guy who shared that uh, what do you want to call hypothesis is named Tyson Zanner. And I'm going to close on the Rampart with what Tyson had to say. And I thought this was pretty cool. He said, because he's hearing that people are saying, Iran, this isn't about America first. We're just going and bombing another country and destroying it. It isn't about putting America first because there's no real threat. And he said, well, there's immediate threats and there's long-term threats. So we had Maduro. That was immediate threat. We took care of them right away. Most people were okay with it. You look at Iran, that's a long-term threat, been a threat for 60 some odd years or so, 50 some odd years or so. So here's what he says about Iran. Iran has killed over 1,000 American service members and diplomats since 1979. They plotted to assassinate the sitting president, almost all of them. They've attacked shipping lanes that carry 20% of the world's oil, which directly threatens America's energy costs. This weekend, American soldiers were killed by Iranian missiles in Kuwait, 6 of them. So it Iran is the key supplier of drones and oil to Russia. They're helping Russia. And so he makes the position that this is why you can say taking care of Iran is putting America first. And then the last thing he says is, if we didn't do something with Iran, what are we telling Russia and China about Ukraine and about Taiwan? Just what the other presidents have done up until Trump, and that is, we're going to threaten you. Remember, Obama said we're going to draw a red line, and then they stepped over it, and he didn't do anything. So Trump is saying to China and Russia, you see what we'll do the same thing to you. So there you have it, our Iranian synopsis. All right, Sammy, let's show real quick. You know what? We are bound and determined to talk about these kids walking out of high school.
We're going to put it first next time.
Yeah, I've said that before and we didn't.
I
So
know.
hold me to that for the next show. So today is March the 3rd, 2026. We told you at the top of the show that there are elections tonight. Elections going on. I mean, voting going on right now. Final day, election day. If you don't early vote, you're probably causing yourself more grief than you need to by going today, where the crowds will be greater.
I was shocked when I came by on the way over here,
Were
and
there people out there?
I rolled by it at 11:30, and there were no lines out front. The lawn was full of signs of people. But the last time that I did go to regular voting, I was in a pretty big line,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
early voting was a snap last
I think
Thursday.
people are starting to figure out that, well, if I go to early voting, I can beat the lines, but because everybody's figuring that out, early voting becomes more
It was
busy than
it was
election day.
well, it spread out over so many days. It was
Yeah,
a breeze,
2 weeks
just a
almost.
breeze. Yeah.
So tonight, for those of you that are local, but I think this applies to most places in your own respective time zones, in Central Time, which is where we are, we will get usually between 7 and 7:30. The caveat is who knows what could happen, but between 7 and 7:30, we get the results of early voting. And then we will wait for a couple of hours, maybe 3 hours, depends. Again, who knows? Uh, but usually, I think it's fair to say, if I look back on all the elections we've covered, I would say 10 o'clock, we should have the final results of all these races. And so we've got important races across the country. There are governors up for reelection. There are Senate uh,
Primaries for the candidates.
that. There are then your more local, countywide, that are also primaries. And then you have your more ultra local, which like party chairs and commissioners, justice of the peace. Those also have primaries that will then be resolved in November in the general election. As soon as we're done with this election, then tomorrow the campaigns that which won't include all the things that have driven us crazy with all these signs, I mean all these
Hmm.
commercials and stuff. The ultra local campaigns for city council, school board, those all will begin tomorrow, and then the election day is in for Saturday in May. So we'll have early voting the last couple of weeks in April.
And we will not have time to review all the amendments in all the races that are going to be going on today for those of you who haven't voted. But I said this last time. If uh, if you go online, it's really easy to see the entire ballot, and
Yeah,
you can put it down. Go ahead.
no, the sample ballot is very helpful. I would encourage you to always go to, in this case, Ellis County elections. Uh, just put upcoming elections or current election. You'll find a sample ballot. I must have not. Let me see. I
While you're
thought I
looking,
brought one.
and when you come up, they're going to ask you if you want a Republican ballot or a
Or Democrat
Democrat
ballot.
ballot or an
Yes.
independent ballot.
Yep.
So you want to have that in mind.
So we're only reviewing real quickly the key races for
Let's
the
go.
Republican ballot, because that's what we are. Uh, there are 10 propositions on the Republican ballot in Ellis County. I think if you were to read them all, certainly you can trust that we've studied them. Not that there's a lot to have to study because they're all obvious. Like, do you want your property taxes lowered? It's essentially, do you want fairness restored with respect to property taxes? So there are 10 of them. Uh, all of them should get an emphatic yes. I'd really wonder about the mentality of those that would vote no.
Those will go 80% for sure or
So we,
higher.
yeah, if not higher. So we have the campaign for U.S. State Senator, which for the well-known folks on the Republican side, the incumbent is John Cornyn. The Texas Attorney General is Ken Paxton. He's in the race, and then Wesley Hunt, a veteran, bright young man. He's also in play here. So, do you want to make a prediction on any of those three?
Well, I think Paxton's got some baggage with a lot of people for a variety of reasons, both personal and governmental. And although Cornyn maybe hasn't done a lot, I think it's likely to go the incumbent there.
All right, so it's hard to beat an incumbent. So you got the incumbent, John Cornyn, who he's been around a long time. He's if I don't ever use the word establishment much, but he's an established guy.
Yeah.
The race right now, the polls appear that Ken Paxton is in the lead. Governor Greg Abbott will win in a landslide. So will Dan Patrick. Attorney General, we don't need to talk about that. Let's get down to the local, more local ones that we have followed very
What about
closely.
the Senate race?
We just talked about that one. Oh, you're talking about on the Democrat side.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't bring that, but we know James Tallarico, and Jasmine Crockett are running against each other. The only reason I could see Crockett winning is because of the same people that have helped her win her seat in Congress. What do you say?
Well, I think, boy, that is such a tough call. I'll just say this: if Jasmine loses, can you imagine a lame duck Jasmine in terms of what will she be like between now and January 3rd of
Yeah, I think
27?
the right will have a field day with her. I do believe if you believe the things polls are polls. Jeff and I in prep were talking about the betting markets. The betting markets have a probability of Tallarico winning 75% probability. They also have on the Republican Senate race, they have Paxton 81% probability. So we'll see.
And if Jasmine loses, can you imagine her second guessing her decision to
Well, this is her last ditch effort to stay in office at this point because she was going to lose the other one, I
I
think.
think she could have had a better fight there
Well,
though.
maybe, but
Yeah,
she calculated risk.
right.
Ellis County Judge Lane Grayson, Cameron Rayburn, Travis Smith. I have publicly endorsed Lane Grayson, who's been a 13-year county commissioner, knows his stuff, good man. I don't think the other two have a chance, but I could be wrong. I don't want Travis Smith in any office in Ellis County. Anything on that?
Well, I think that could go to a. I don't know that he'll. That may go to a runoff.
Could go, yeah. So in the state of Texas, if no candidate gets 50%, above 50%, then the two highest have to go through a runoff, which will be about a month long, sometime in June. Well, this not in June, that's in the May races, but in these races, it would be early April, somewhere in April, probably first 10 days of April, that we would have another runoff vote election cycle. Let's see. There's been a lot of talk about our district clerk. I really don't have anything to say on that one. County Commissioner Precinct 2 is the only one that I have endorsed. That would be John Paul Deneen or Garrett Bailey. I think either one of those would do a good job. We have the county chair for the Ellis County Republican Party. The current chair is Randy Bellamy. I think it's time for Randy Bellamy to go away. That the GOP party here is a little bit in shambles, in my opinion. We have the biggest race, not the biggest, but the one that's got the most attention to it is the one with Brian Harrison in HD10. John Garrett and Matt Authier are running against Brian Harrison, who's been the incumbent. He's been in office for a little over 4 years, hadn't done a dang thing, can't get a bill signed. He's been banned by both sides of the aisle from really participating in anything. He's just a blowhard, uh, lies through his teeth. Anything else I can be more direct with?
Tell us how
I
you really
believe
feel.
I really believe he's got some mental things going on because for him to say what he says and actually watch it and then say, well, I'm making a total fool of myself. The inability to do that speaks to some mental breakdown, in my opinion. But I have publicly endorsed John Garrett for HD10. I believe John, young man, uh, very, very successful with his job, has worked hard on the border, has relationships in Austin, can restore the credibility that Ellis County needs and the district needs, and he can do it quickly. So John Garrett is the man, as far as I'm concerned. All right, that's it, I think, um, for our main topic
Rhyme
for
time in
today.
history. We've only got 7 in
Poem.
history. We're gonna get it all done yet.
Well, you got your poem too.
Got my poem. Here we go.
Okay.
Uh many poems I've done more than once on this show. This is the only one I've done 3 times, and it's called Election. I originally wrote it in 2020, in the tumultuous year of 2020, and then we did this in October of 24 and 25. We've never done it for a primary, but here we go. Election. Reflection, election, dejection. These terms go hand in hand. Come November, we get a vote across this land. So do your civic duty, even if the choices sound kind of hooty. If you don't like the choice, just be glad you have a voice. If you want to be heard, you may have to stand in a herd. We celebrate democracy, a revolt from English monarchy. Sure beats a dictatorship where one big boss runs the ship. Lead, follow, or get out of the way. You have a chance to have your say.
Yeah.
If you want to complain, you're free to run for office. Now you're the one who must explain. We've got mail in vote, early vote, or stand distance in the big line. Take your pick. I don't want to hear you whine. Here in 2020, you may not like either ticket, but if your folks lose, please be peaceful if you decide to pick it, and that applies in 2025 also.
Very good. All right. In a
Today in
matter of
history.
yeah. So in a matter of minutes, we're going to do this, and then we'll do
Well
our
done.
final close.
7-0 for the big man. Here we go.
Really?
Yeah. And that was, I just
Somebody
missed it on a
cheated.
few
Somebody
of them.
Googled.
Come on. I don't. My wife wouldn't let me do it. She wouldn't let this part of the paper get out of her hand until she does this section. U.S. President Andrew Jackson officially recognized the Republic of Texas.
Andrew Jackson would have been
1822.
1811.
37.
Ah,
President Abraham Lincoln signed the act creating the National Academy of Sciences. Abraham Lincoln?
1865.
64.
63.
Ah.
Allied troops fully secured the Philippine capital of Manila from Japanese forces during World War II after a month-long battle that destroyed much of the city.
1943.
1949.
45.
Mm.
Sam, way to best him there.
Mm-hmm.
It was in World War II. Come on,
I thought
buddy.
that after World War II.
No. Motorist Rodney King, I missed this by one. I'm so mad, was severely beaten by Los Angeles police officers after a high speed chase in a scene captured on amateur video
Good,
that
Tim.
sparked public outrage. The subsequent acquittal of 4 officers of felony assault and other charges in April of 1992 triggered off days of rioting. 1992 was the trial with the rioting. When did this happen?
1889.
No.
I mean 1989. 1989.
Ah, you threw me off, Jeff. 90.
91.
Okay, we're there.
Dancing around it. We're all dancing around him. Millionaire adventurer Steve Fawcett became the first person to fly a plane around the world solo without stopping or refueling, landing in Salina, Kansas, where he took off 67 hours earlier,
Whoa.
nearly
Wow.
3 days in the air.
1994.
2006.
2005, dancing around it, buddy. Here we go. We close with OxyContin maker Purdue Pharma reached a nationwide settlement over its role in the opioid crisis with the Sackler family members who own the company, boosting their cash contributions to as much as $6 billion.
Yeah.
2021.
2018.
22.
Oh,
No, that's a good movie. That about that family and how much money they were making
What's it
and how
called?
off. I forget. Sonia knows. I can't remember. I'll find out though. Terry did great on his
yeah,
damn history.
Terry.
All right. True facts that sound like BS. What do you got, boys? Let's see if you can figure this out.
All right.
We should keep a running score.
We
as
should.
two.
We should.
You know what? I'm going to put down here Jeff and Sammy. We're going to starting today. I'm just going to mark who got it right with a little thing.
Historically, Sam, wouldn't you say we're both running about 75%?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
please.
Oh, yeah.
About
Oh,
like
yeah.
10%.
I'll cut it out.
All right, true or false? Sammy, this is about the NBA. True or false? An NBA player once averaged more minutes per game than there are minutes in an NBA game.
True. It's true.
Don't act like you know.
It's true.
Why do you say it's true?
It wasn't Wilt.
Jeff, true or false? A player averaged more minutes in the across the season game minutes than there are minutes in a game.
Well, I could see that in one game with overtime, but
Don't
not.
overthink it, boys. True
No,
or false?
answer is no. False.
True.
True or false? The answer is
False.
true.
Who
How
was
can
it?
that be?
True. Wilt Chamberlain
I
averaged 48.5 minutes per game in 61-62 season. That means he played every minute of every game plus every minute of every overtime. Truly a record that will never be broken.
I knew the way you looked at me when I said Wilt's name.
So
I saw
Sammy's
that
up on you.
sadness.
So we started yeah, so I guess started what's today? 3/3/26. All right, we are
Sammy,
sponsored.
I am not worthy.
We are sponsored by Hoosier Custom Meats, HOOSER Custom Meats in Italy, Texas. Go to them at HoosierCustomMeats.com. You'll find them there. Maggie, Sue, and the crew. Great meat, great food, local family, good people. So we encourage you to check them out. Thank you for being with us. We'll see you in a couple of days.
Sorry we ran 1 minute late.
Mm.
I don't know which minute we'd have cut. Have a
Oops.
great day and try to make somebody smile today.